I'm Bob Fryer here in the AAPEX studios. Want to thank our sponsors, Repairify and Great Water 360 Auto Care. Welcoming right now, Ann Wilson. She's the Senior VP with MEMA. Good to have you here, Ann.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, we've been talking a lot about the right to repair, and the right to repair actually had a major boost about two months ago in the DC legislative fly-in. They got a hearing before Congress. That is a major move.
It is, and as I was telling somebody else, you know, it's relatively straightforward to get a bill introduced.
Yes.
But to get a bill introduced, which we have, HR 906,
yep.
And to get a hearing on the legislation, and then get to move to what we call a markup, which is supposed to happen on Thursday of this week, is actually extraordinary progress. And the industry needs to be very proud of itself of how we've been able to move this issue forward. The hearing was really well received. There were obviously a variety of different opinions about it, a lot of good questions raised, but there was enough support to sort of move this forward. And now we're considering amendments that might be to the bill, which we've always known was going to happen. And we're hoping we can get this through subcommittee, full committee, to the House floor.
An eventual vote.
Exactly, exactly.
And what happens then? I mean, if it goes through a vote and then we got to go to the Senate. I mean, I saw Schoolhouse Rock. I know what happens with a bill, but that's essentially it, right?
Anybody who doesn't know, just Google Schoolhouse Rock and you can find it on the computer near you. We need a Senate bill, and we've been working on a Senate bill, and we hope then we can get it through the Senate and we can marry the two of them up. Now keep in mind, what happens in a congressional schedule is we have a 2-year session, so we're in the first year of it, so we have all of 2024 to work through this. But make no mistake about it, we are up against significant challenges. We have the automobile manufacturers who are opposing the bill. We have the Automobile Dealers Association, NADA, which are opposing the bill. We have some truck dealers who are opposing the bill. And they all have very, very strong lobbying forces, and they are making a big push in opposition. We need the aftermarket to weigh in. Every single person in the aftermarket needs to participate in AutoCare's grassroots network. Our grassroots network needs to talk to their member of the House, needs to talk to their senators, and tell them how important it is. And we've got to paint this picture in a couple of ways. One is we talk a lot about how it's important for the industry. You know, the industry needs this data to continue to be able to repair and maintain vehicles. But we also need to paint a picture about the consumers we all serve. So we need to think about that 12-and-a-half-year-old vehicle, which most of us have in our driveway or know somebody have, because that's the average age of vehicles in the United States.
Well past the warranty.
Well past warranty. And we need to think about that single mom who's trying to pay rent and daycare
and needs
and
the
food,
car back quickly.
And needs that car back quickly and has depended on the independent repair shop to make those changes. We need to think about the trucker who is out there and needs to have that car repaired immediately so they can continue to move freight. So we've got to make sure that everybody understands this is an argument between two industries, but there is a lot at stake for the consumer too.
Okay. Let's switch subject to the labor issues, and I know there was a big change in that. Where do we stand on the labor contracts?
So what's happened here too, we all focus a lot on legislation in Washington, and we all want to talk about bills and how they pass. But what is also happening is the President of the United States has extraordinary powers through his regulatory power and his executive power. And this president has made it very clear he's very pro-union, very pro-worker. And we're seeing this play out in two different ways. One is at the National Labor Relations Board, and one is at the Department of Labor. And at the National Labor Relations Board, they are making mammoth policy changes that will impact how unions and union negotiators interact with businesses. So they are making it easier for shorter election times. So a union comes in, they don't have as long a time before they have to call a vote. They are making it harder for you to have separate employers. So if you have a third-party contractor, they might be considered a joint employer, which changes very much what kind of benefits you have to give to people. And no longer is there going to be a secret ballot when it comes to elections. There's going to be what's called a card check. These are significant changes. Now, at the same time, at the Department of Labor, there are two separate regulations that our members need to pay a lot of attention to. One of them is the increase of the minimum salary that's necessary to pay overtime. They're increasing that to over $55,000. This is a 55% increase in the salary minimum. So you've got somebody who's making $56,000, you are now going to have to pay them overtime when this regulation becomes final.
Okay, and the second? And
the second one really is difficult to swallow. And that is if there's an OSHA, a Safety and Health Administration view of a manufacturing facility. So they go in there and they do a review of the facility. If it's a non-union facility, they can bring a union representative to do a walk around with them as they walk around the facility and see if there's any violations. These are both proposals, but we feel very sure that these proposals are going to be finalized this year. Okay, and you'll be following that. Ann, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. It's been my pleasure. And again, always thanking our sponsors, Repairify and Great Water 360 Auto Care. I'm Bob Fryer, and we'll see you back here in our AAPEX studio.